I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on solution of EQAO Grade 6 mathematics papers. In this video, we'll discuss the solution of the questions which are released by EQAO Assessment Questions of 2016. I hope the description and the solutions will help our students to understand them better. Now let us begin with the essential part, which is what is required. If you go through the instructions, you will note that they have clearly written that we need to use a pencil and the circles for a multiple choice question should be fully filled as shown here. So you definitely need a set of pencils so that you could do this type of filling. And then you may also need a good quality eraser just to correct your answer if required. In my case, since I am providing you with the solutions, I will be using black ink so that you can clearly see what have I written and which choice have I selected. But you need to use pencils. So let's begin with the very first question now, which is question number 1. It says, which of these expressions have a value of 0.555? Now we're talking about division and multiplication by 100. Now if you divide, the number becomes smaller. If you divide by 100, then it moves 2 places, correct? So I think the first one is correct. Dividing by 100 will result into what? We have written here 55.5, that decimal moves 2 places, and what you get will be equal to 0.555. Therefore, the very first option is the correct option. You need to fully blacken this with a pencil to write the answer. Perfect. Now I am using ink only for it to become visible to you clearly, right? Here is question number 2. It also has 4 choices, a multiple choice question. This rectangular prism has a volume of 192 centimeter cube. We are given 8 centimeter, 6 centimeter and height. What is the height? That is what we need to find. Now the volume is length times width times height. Now we know it is 8 times 6 times height. That should be equal to 192, right? Now 8 times 6 is 48. 48 times what is 192? That is what you have to think. You could also do one thing, which is you could divide 192 by 48, whichever is easy. But you will see multiplying 48 by 4 gives you 192. So that is the answer, right? So here also the answer is 8. You think like this. 48 times 2 is 96 and 96 times 2 is 192, right? So let me just push this page a bit in front so that you can clearly see what I wrote. So the idea of volume is it is product of length, width and height. So to get a volume of 192 from 48, you are looking for a number which when multiplied gives you 192. The number is 4, right? So that 4 is your option. Now let's look into question number 3. This is about transformations. A shape is shown on the grid. Which grid shows the image of the shape after a 180 degrees rotation, then a 90 degrees rotation counterclockwise? So first rotation is 180 degrees, right? The second one is counterclockwise by 90 degrees, like this. So these are the 2 rotations which have to be applied about the point S, about this point. You are given 4 options. Have a good look at these options. Which one do you think is correct? Well, these you get only when you do 180 and these with counterclockwise, right? Let's see which one is correct. Let's think about it. So when you look at it, you know, if you flip it on this side with respect to S, you'll get an image which will bring this part here, right? And then when you put it over, then what you will see is something like this. So that becomes the correct option, right? So it will be option B. Now let's take question number 4. Which fraction is equivalent to 8%? So when I say 8%, it means what? 8 out of 100, right? So 8% is 8 out of 100. We can simplify this. So you can divide both by 4. You get 2 out of 25. So you get 2 out of 25 as your answer, which is option 1. Correct? Question number 5. Which statement about the pictograph is true? Balls sold at a sports store: basketball, football, volleyball, baseball. Each circle represents 10 balls, right? So that means these are 40, right? These are 20. These are 10. And how many are these? Baseballs are 15, correct? So you can write the numbers. Now read what is given to you and which one is correct. Okay, so let's look into it. It says twice as many basketballs as baseballs were sold. Well, that's not true. Twice 15 is 30. Twice as many baseballs as volleyballs were sold. That's also not true. C is an equal number of footballs and baseballs were sold. All numbers are different. That is not true. The last one here is the total number of baseballs and basketballs sold was 55. So baseballs and basketballs, let's combine these two. What do you get? If you add 40 and 15, you do get 55. So that is the correct option, correct? So now we'll fill this up as a right option. Perfect. Let's move on and take question number 6 now. Isla can run 800 meters in 10 minutes. At this rate, how many kilometers, not meters, kilometers, can she run in 50 minutes? Well, it will be 800 meters in 10 minutes, right? That means in 50, it'll be times 5, right? So 800 times 5, but the units will be in meters. So it'll be 4,000 meters, which is equal to 4 kilometers. So the answer will be in kilometers, option A, which is 4. So it is 4 kilometers, since we need to write the units in kilometers. I hope that is absolutely clear. The next question, question number 7 here is, the first term of a pattern is 28,672. The pattern rule is divide by 4 to get the next term. What is the fifth term? So let's create our pattern. We have 28,672. We have to divide by 4 each time, right? So this is the first term, correct? Now, if you divide by 4, 4 times 7 is 28, 4 times 1, 27, 4 times 6 is 24, 32 is 8. Again, let's divide by 4. So 4 goes 1 times, 31, 4 times 7, 28, 36, 9, and this will go 2 times. Again, divide by 4. 4 times 4 is 16, this is 19, 4 times 4 is 16, 32, 8. Again, divide by 4. So we get 1, 1, and 2. So this is our first term, second term, third, fourth, and that is our fifth term. So we get our answer as 112. Perfect. So simple division by 4 gets you the right answer. Let's look into the next question. Now this is an open response question. You need to explain what answer you're giving. So that is kind of very important. I'd like you to pause the video, answer this question, and then look into my suggestions. Now let us see how to answer this. The number line is divided into 4 equal parts using points. So this is 0 to 1. It is divided into 4 equal parts. These are the 4 equal parts. The value of point A is what? This is 1/4, right? So this could be written as 1/4. You could also write this in decimals. Decimal number says 0.25, right? So this position is 0.25. Writing in decimals helps, since it helps you to compare the numbers. Complete the chart to complete the numbers below to points A's value, right? So here is a chart for you to complete. Now let's go through this chart carefully. We are given the numbers greater or less than point A's value, that is 0.25. Justify your answer with fractions, decimals, or percent. First number is 0.3. So if you compare 0.3 with 0.25, what do you notice? Well, 0.3 is greater than, right? So we'll say greater than here. Now, why is 0.3 greater than 0.25? On a number line, you will notice that 0.3 will be on right side of A, right? So you can also justify as 0.3 will be on right side of A, right? That is why it is greater. All numbers on the right are greater. And even otherwise, 0.3 is greater than 0.25. Now, next number here is 0.88. So if you compare 0.88 with 0.25, we know it is almost 3 times, right? So it is much, much greater. So this number is also greater than A, right? So that is how you're going to answer this particular question. The last number is 0.09. Now 0.09 is less than 0.25. So it is less than 0.25. So that is how we will circle. And our explanation is clear that 0.09 will be somewhere here. Is that okay? And 0.88 is a very big number, which is going to be on the far right corner, right? 0.88 will be more than 75, correct? So it will be pretty high. Is that okay? So that is how you could actually place your numbers on the number line and also answer. I hope that helps, right? Let's move on and take question number 9 now, which is also open response question. So you need to explain your answer, okay? The terms of a pattern are made using toothpicks. Term 1 and term 5 are not shown. So 1 is here and 5 is here. These are term number 2, 3 and 4. Term 2, term 3 and term 4 are shown. Determine total number of toothpicks used in term 1 to 5 of this pattern. Justify your answer. Oh, let's count. So if you count these, let's start from here. For example, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we have 9, 10, 11. So here we have 11 toothpicks. In this case, we can count like this. 3, 3, 6, 3, 9, 3, 12. 12 and 4, 16, right? So this is 16. In this case, we have 4, right? So we have increased by 1. 4 and 4 is 8, 4, 12, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So we get 21 toothpicks here. Do you see a pattern? Well, if I go from here to there, I'm adding 5 toothpicks. 11 plus 5 is 16. And then again, I'm adding 5. That means next should have plus 5. So 21 plus 5 will give me what? 26. So the fifth pattern, the term 5, should have 26 toothpicks. How about this one? Now this one should be such that if you add 5, you get 11. So that should be 6. You can also figure it out. 11 minus 5 is 6. So on 6, if you add 5, you will get 11. So that is how you could get your answer. Correct? So the total number of toothpicks used in term 1, so that is total number of toothpicks now we need to find used in term 1 to term 5. So let's add them all. So we have to add 6, 11, 16, 21 and 26. 6 plus 1, 7 and 7, 14 and 6, 20. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So total is 80 toothpicks in this particular case. Perfect. So that is how you could answer. All this explanation could be given in this space. I hope that is fine. Correct? Have a good look at what we did. So we added these toothpicks all together. We also found the number of toothpicks in term 1 and 5, which are 6 and 26. Perfect. Here is question number 10, which is also open response question. You need to explain your answers. Nikki spins the arrow on this spinner 56 times. Complete the chart below. So we are given all these colors. Theoretical probability of the arrow landing on this color as a percent and number of spins. So we have to write percents in this and the numbers in this. Let's be very clear. So green you see is 1/4, right? So it is 25%. Perfect. Blue is half of it, so it is 50%. And this blue and red seems to be divided equally, right? So you could write this as 22.5 and 22.5, thinking that they are equally divided, right? So you could do that. But if you carefully look, it may seem one is smaller, but we'll just go with half of half, right? So we'll just see the numbers and then figure this out, correct? So there are 56 in all. So what is half of 56? Let's begin from here. 56 divided by 2 is, if you divide 56 by 2, you get 2 times 2 is 4 and 28. And 25 is half of that. So we'll do 56 divided by 4. So half of this is 14, correct? Now in this case, how many red we could get, right? So, the blue, blue is 50 plus this is also blue. So I will add, this is 1/8 of 4, right? So it is plus 22.5%. I'm sorry. So these both are blue, right? So that is plus 20. So plus half of this, which is 7, right? So which is plus 56 by 8, right? So that is 22.5%. Is it okay? I didn't notice that both are blue. So let's be very clear. So both these are both blue, right? So this is blue and that is also blue. Okay. So that is why I added 22.5, right? So half of quarter, 22.5. The red remaining is 22.5%, which in this case will be 56 divided by 8 or 7 in all. Perfect. So that is how you could distribute the numbers. So I hope now that is absolutely clear, right? So that is how you need to shade it. I hope it works. Now here is question number 11. It says, complete the chart. Now we are given name of these shapes here: square, rectangle, right trapezoid, and isosceles trapezoid. You need to figure out number of acute angles, number of obtuse angles, and number of lines of symmetry. Right? And then part 2 is, on the grid, draw and name a quadrilateral that has 2 obtuse angles and no lines of symmetry. Perfect. So let's try to do it. Now in a square, as you can see, how many lines of symmetry do we have and how many acute angles? Well, the number of acute angles is 0, number of obtuse angles is 0. The lines of symmetry are 1, 2, and these diagonals are also lines of symmetry. So we have 4 lines of symmetry. As far as the rectangle is concerned, only 2 lines of symmetry are there. All angles are 90. None of them is acute or obtuse. So we get 0, 0, 2. Right trapezoid means one of the sides is kind of a right angle and it could be kind of like this. Do you see that? So that becomes a right trapezoid. In this, we do not have any line of symmetry, so there are no lines of symmetry. As far as the acute and obtuse angles are concerned, 1 each, right? So we have 1 each. When we say isosceles trapezoid, then the other 2 sides are equal in length. Now that makes this particular with 1 line of symmetry. So it just has a 1 line of symmetry. There are 2 acute angles and 2 obtuse angles. As you can see, These are acute angles and those are obtuse angles. So that is how you can provide complete information about the quadrilaterals, right? Now, we need to sketch a quadrilateral that has two obtuse angles and no lines of symmetry. No lines of symmetry is parallelogram. So you could sketch any parallelogram, correct? So let's sketch one here. And the name is parallelogram. It does not have any line of symmetry and it does have two obtuse angles, correct? So that is how we could do it. These are two obtuse angles for a parallelogram, correct? Now let's look into the next question. Question number 12. Which of these patterns use the rule multiply by 2 and add 1 to get the next number? Multiply by 2, multiply by 2, multiply by 2, add 1 will give us 3. So that seems to be okay. So times 2 is 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 14 plus 1 is 15. So that seems to be perfectly fine. So we'll shade this up. Question number 13. These polygons have been ordered from smallest to largest based on a geometric property. Now let's look into the polygons. Parallelogram, isosceles triangle, rectangle, square, regular, hexagon. Which property has been used to order the polygons? So we have four choices. Number of sides? No. Number of acute angles? Number of lines of symmetry? Or number of pairs of parallel sides? Well, clearly it is number of lines of symmetry, right? 0 lines of symmetry. Here we have 1 line of symmetry. Here we have 2 lines of symmetry, 4 lines of symmetry. Regular hexagon will have 6 lines of symmetry, correct? So that is how we could answer it. So it is based on lines of symmetry. Question number 14. Consider these two equations. Square minus 3 equals to 7. 4 times triangle equals to 8. What is the value of square plus triangle? 4 options are given. You can try them out. How do you get 7? Well, to get 7, this number should be how much? 10, right? So this should be 10 because 10 minus 3 equals to 7. That means the number for square is 10. Now 4 times what is 8? 4 times 2 is 8, so this should be 2. When you add 10 and 2, you get 12, so that becomes your answer, right? So when you add them, you get 12. So that is your answer. Is that clear? So that is how we are going to answer question number 14. Now that's the last page. We have last 4 questions to go. Question 15 is, how many minutes are in 365 days? Well, a lot of work. So 365 days, in one day, how many hours? We have to multiply by 24 to get hours. So let's do that first. So 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 6, 24, and 2 is 26. Then we get 2 here. 4 times 3 is 12 and 2, 14. Multiplying by 2, we get 2 times 5 is 10. This is a placeholder. 2 times 6, 12 and 1, 13. 2 times 3, 6 and 1, 7. Let's add them up. Okay, and multiply this by 60 to get minutes. So we get 2 zeros here. Let's keep these 2 zeros like this. And multiply rest with our 6. 6 times 6 is 36. 6, 3. 6 times 7, 42 and 3, 45. 4. 6 times 8, 48. And 4 is 52, right? So we get 52, 5, 600, which is the last option. So you need to multiply to get minutes, right? First by 24 and then by 60. The next question, question number 16 is, Hayden randomly selects one date from this calendar. There are 31 days in the calendar. Now, what is the probability that it will be an odd number? So you can count the number of odd numbers here, right? So starting from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 116. So there are 16 out of 31 which are odd numbers, right? So the option is 16 over 31, which is the last option here, right? So 16 out of 31 is the last option which you're going to mark, right? Make it complete black so that, it is scanned properly. Is that clear to you? Now, here are we. Question number 17. What is the total area of the shaded region in this diagram? Now, the total area is how much? Total area is, multiply these two, is 48. How much do you think is shaded? It is, I think, exactly half. Because if you bring this side here, it will show you half shaded. So it is half of 48, which is 24. So the answer is 24 for us. Is that clear to you? The last question, question number 18. How many milliliters are in 82 liters? So we are going to multiply 82 by 1000. That gives you milliliters, right? So it is 82,000, which is the last option in this test paper, right? So that is what you're going to provide as an answer. So I hope you understand and appreciate how these questions can be answered. Feel free to ask questions, and if you have any suggestions, please do make them. I will also provide you with links on some videos which can help you answer similar test papers. All the best, and thanks a lot for your time.